In this video, I will dissect the 27mm lenses for Fujifilm, the pancake lenses. And we will talk about 27mm WR lens from Fujifilm versus Voigtlander 27mm f2 lens. And I will throw in a mix, a budget lens. Let's talk about this now. Hi there and welcome to my channel. My name is Tudor Matescu and I like to talk about photography tips and tricks and photography gear because I believe photography tips are very related to the gear. So when I'm reviewing some gear, I will throw in some photography tips. So pay attention to these tips and also subscribe to my newsletter for more tips, tricks and news from me. Links in the comment and description. So I have here the most wanted lens, we could say, from Fujifilm because it's hard to find. The 27mm f2.8 WR lens. It was a big launch of this lens because it has nice clicks. But does a lens should have nice clicks or good optics, good AF and other goodies in it? We will discover. Next, I have here Voigtlander 27mm f2 lens, a new lens from Voigtlander, Ultron version. This means vintage design, modern rendering, f2, not f2.8. These are my main contenders, and at the end of this video I will address some conclusion regarding a budget lens compared to these two lenses. So let's enter into the subject. 27mm f2.8 lens from Fujifilm AF lens versus Voigtlander 27mm f2 Ultron lens versus at the end a budget friendly lens, a surprise candidate. And you'll be shocked by my conclusion probably. How is this Fujifilm lens? So how I've said, it has nice clicks. The aperture ring, it can be locked in the A point. This is helping you if you use the rear dials. So it's something that you could want if you aren't a Fujifilm shooter and you come from a Sony background or from other systems. So anyway, I'm using the aperture ring a lot. This lens, it's an f2.8 lens and it's sharp. It's a good lens, it's a sharp lens, but it doesn't have any magic to it, I would say. It's a kit lens. I've bought it as a kit lens with the XE4. It is weather resistant. And the AF is pretty good, I would say. The AF is pretty good. On the other hand, we have this Voigtlander lens. It's not weather sealed. It also has nice clicks. You can't hear the clicks so good as on this lens. But if you are asking me, this is just a gimmick. You don't buy a lens just for this sound. Because this lens, even if you are able to hear this sound in videos, it's not a premium lens. So regarding build quality, I'm not feeling this lens as a premium lens. Yes, it has weather sealed body, it has nice clicks, nice aperture ring, but it's not premium. I don't know, I'm not feeling it premium at all. This lens, I'm feeling it premium. It has a nice buttery smooth focus ring that has a focusing tab, a tiger claw tab. And it's really feeling premium. More than that, you have a screw-on lens hood, and this is helping a lot the lens not to flare. This lens has pretty good flare resistance, but this lens, I would say, it doesn't have a good flare resistance. You really need to use a lens hood with this lens to get it where you want, because the image will be washed out by the flare. But if you use a lens hood, let's say a square lens hood, that it's costing some money, you'll have a bigger package. This lens, the Voigtlander lens, doesn't need the square hood. It already has a lens hood that is keeping the lens compact. So even if I'm looking at these two lenses, and I could say that the Fujifilm lens, it is more compact, I would have to say that in the end, in real world results, where you want to use a lens hood for not having washed out images, this is more compact. Now regarding size and weight, I'm not feeling any much differences between these two lenses. So they have similar size and similar weight. Yes, this is lighter, but again, in real world use, no problems. You do not know which lens it's on which body because they are small and have, how I said, similar size and weight. Now let's talk about what's important, image quality. I will show you some tests in studio and we look at those tests in studio, and next I will give you my impressions about these lenses in real world use. Now let's look at the bokeh and the bokeh balls of 27mm f2.8 Fujifilm versus Voigtlander Ultron 27mm f2. We are able to see that the bokeh of the Ultron, it is a little more smoother, the bokeh balls are a little more bigger, and in a shot like this for a wide lens, I don't think there is much to add. Yes, the Ultron has a little edge, the image it's a little brighter, the colors are a little warmer, I am feeling that the colors are a little nicer, and there is a little something to it in this studio test. Nothing very concludent, I would say. We are feeling that in this studio shot, yes, the Voigtlander has an advantage. Now let's go to the bokeh and how the background is rendered in JPEG mode. So we have the 27mm f2.8 on the left Fujifilm lens and on the right Ultron. We are able to see that the bokeh and the background, it is pretty similar rendered. In this case, it's hard for me to tell a difference. The bokeh, it is pretty similar rendered. We have here the Fujifilm on the left, on the right, the Ultron. A little advantage on the Ultron, it's not something very concludent here. The image, yes, it's a little brighter, it's looking a little nicer, but again, in this studio shot, nothing concludent. This is why I'm pro real world test. So let's look now at the minimum to focus distance, 25 centimeters, and it's very sharp at this minimum to focus distance. At f2, I would say pretty sharp. We are losing from the quality, but let's look at Fujifilm at f2.8. Very bad, I would say, compared to the Ultron. And yes, very interesting that we are able to see in this comparison shot that Fujifilm at f2.8, it's not clear. Maybe the focus is here. I was on AF with tracking, and this is it. But anyway, Ultron has better minimum to focus distance, and overall I feel it is a sharper lens. Let's look also at sharpness. Let's look at this test. We have Fujifilm on the left and Ultron on the right. So in this test we have the eyes very well focused, and we are able to see that Fujifilm, because it's an f2.8 lens, has a little advantage regarding sharpness, but not by much. So Ultron, it's pretty sharp at f2. We see here some problems regarding details, but not by much. I would say not by much. And if I will close the Ultron at f2.8, then there would be another discussion. But overall, in the studio test, they are pretty equally lenses with an advantage to Ultron, but a negligible advantage in this in-studio test. But let's see how these lenses are comparing in real-world use. So now, in studio, you aren't able to see much differences, I would say. When you are making comparisons like this, even if you are doing those comparisons on streets with a model for portraiture, you'll not be able to observe much difference. But in real-world use, from different situations, you are able to realize what lens is better, what lens it's delivering better results, and what lens it should be a keeper. So from my point of view, the Voigtlander lens, it is much better. You have 3D pop, you have micro contrast, you have sharpness out of this world, you have a great f2 aperture. So this means the lens will give you more light, and you'll be able to shoot this lens indoors and outdoors. I was always feeling constrained by the f2 aperture of the Fujifilm lens. So this lens, I'm not liking it to shoot it by night. I'm not liking it to shoot dark scenes. I hate to take this lens in the winter season. I'm not okay with this. So this is why I was always searching for an alternative. So in general, I'm pairing this lens with the 35mm f1.4. So no way I want to be catched by the dark without an f1.4 lens on Fujifilm. But for my surprise, the f2 Ultron delivered even in darker situations, even in night photography. I don't know how they did it, probably because the lens glass, it's very sharp, it's resolving lots of details. So this lens, it's resolving the 40 megapixel sensor without problems. I could say that also this lens, it's resolving it. I don't have a clear judgment here, but I'm not feeling that it's not resolving it. It's okay. But again, it's not a lens. It's not a lens that I could say, man, I'm so thrilled to pick this lens. This is a magic lens. This is an outstanding lens. No, this kind of ideas and this kind of excitement, it's towards the Voigtlander lens. So the Voigtlander lens, it's really exciting me when I want to pick it up and shoot it. But it has a small problem. I will address it immediately. Probably a Fujifilm firmware problem, not a lens problem, but a Fujifilm firmware problem. So anyway, this lens, it's 5 times, I would say, better than the Fujifilm lens, at least 5 times. So the Voigtlander lens, it is crazy good. So if you have problems in thinking about the price of this lens, if you think the price is not deserving, you are totally wrong. The price is very okay, not okay, very okay, because this lens will give you full frame Leica-like image quality on your Fujifilm camera. I'm very serious when I'm saying this. This is one of the best lenses that I have on Fujifilm system. Leica-like image quality, full frame-like image quality on your Fujifilm camera. And if you don't know, I also have a Leica, so I know what I'm talking about here. This, it's delivering just like an APS-C good, okay-ish kit lens. This is it. I will not talk about vignetting. This is it. Now let's talk about the surprise contender. Which is the surprise contender? Let's say you aren't able to find this lens, you aren't okay with a manual focusing lens because you are afraid that you will not be able to focus it, but it's very easy to focus it. Very easy. But you want an AF lens. Then there is a contender. This is TT Artisan 27mm f2.8. Small as this lens, a little bit bigger but not by much. It comes with a lens hood and it's sharper than the Fujifilm lens. It's sharper than the Fujifilm lens. It has some micro contrast to it, some 3D pop. It's sharper, it's better regarding portraits and also street photography. It has just one problem, it vignettes a lot. So at f2.8 you will be able to see the vignetting, also at f4 and so on. So the vignetting of that TT Artisan, it's disappearing just at f8, but also you have there some vignetting. But for the price, let's be serious, I would not pay the Fujifilm money for this. For me, if I would want AF, now that I experienced all these lenses, I would choose the TT Artisan for the AF, and for the sharpness, again, better sharpness, better subject to background separation than the Fujifilm lens. And if I'm okay with manual focusing, and if I want an f2 lens, and if I love this field of view, the 40mm equivalent field of view, I would choose the Voigtlander lens. The Voigtlander lens is the best 27mm compact lens that is rendering Leica-like images on your Fujifilm camera. So this is why I do love the Voigtlander so much. It is very good. And by the way, I've told you that I will tell you about a little problem of this lens with Fujifilm bodies. Yes, the problem is that Fujifilm firmware, when you are using this manual focusing lens, it's not deactivating the picking feature. So when you lightly press the button, the picking will not disappear, and this is not okay. It's not the Voigtlander's fault, it is the Fujifilm firmware fault. So they need to address this, who knows when. But if you don't want to hassle with the picking, you can use punch-in zoom and other manual focusing options that are on Fujifilm and that I've talked in another video. So please check my next videos if you want to learn more about these lenses and how to manual focus your Fujifilm camera. Click here right now.